Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome to this first Q&A session for the Interreg Europe third call for proposals. Good morning, good morning. I can see people enter the room. Let's maybe wait a few minutes until everyone is in. Nice to see you all. Welcome, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Nice to see you. Welcome to our Q&A session on the third call. Interreg Europe, third call proposals is running this year. So my name is Verena Prim. I'm a senior policy officer in the program secretariat. And I will be your host today for this session. So a warm welcome to everyone. I'm glad to see you. I'm not alone today, of course. You will see on stage later on my colleague Nicolas Sanger and Ilaria Piazza. That will be actually the one answering the questions. And of course, there was also a few colleagues of mine in the background working to run this webinar, to monitor the chat, and of course, the Slido. So we're recording live from Lille, where our offices is located in the northern France. It's kind of a rainy day, but that doesn't prevent us from giving full energy for you and answering all the questions you might have. So what's in today? Let's have a look at the outline. We will start with a very brief presentation for my colleagues about the key features of the third call. So assuming that most of you are already familiar with, let's say, the overall rationale of Interreg Europe, I guess some of you also participated 2 weeks ago in the call launch in Antwerp in Belgium. If not, you can of course check out the materials online. So we will have a quick reminder, let's say, of the key features of the call, and then of course we give a lot of time for your questions and our answers. And in order to wrap up the session, I will give you a quick overview about our assistance services. So we have 1 hour more or less for this session. The session will be recorded, so also no worries if you have to leave earlier, if your colleagues couldn't join, if you joined later, whatsoever, the recording will be made available afterwards. I can see some people putting their greetings in the chat. That's amazing. Good morning from Croatia. Good morning from Ukraine. Yes, hello. Good morning to everyone. Welcome. Feel free indeed to, let's say, use the chat, maybe to put some greetings whatsoever. However, we're not gonna, let's say, use the chat to answer your questions. In order to answer your questions, we will use a tool that we like a lot and that you're probably also familiar with, which is a Slido. So you can, if you have questions you want to file during the session, you can either connect via the QR code, simply scan the code with your smartphone and type in the question there, or else go to slido.com and then with the hashtag #3callquestions, you can connect to the same page, and it's very easy. You can simply file your questions. Of course, some of you also asked questions already when we're just registering to the session, and we will start with those questions, of course, as well. Yes, so I think that's the most important information for the housekeeping. We have 94 people connected by now. I think people still will join in the next minutes. We had more than 160 people registered from 24 countries all over Europe. So that's amazing. Welcome to all of you. Without further ado, I want to introduce you now to my colleagues. So Ilaria and Nico, if you're here, can you please switch on your camera? So Ilaria Piazza, coordinator for program finances. Nice to have you here. Hi, Ilaria.
Hello, thank you.
And Nicolas Sanger. Nico, are you here? Okay, I can't really hear you. Is it only me or is it everyone? I don't know. In any case, it's nice to have you here. Nico, let's see if we can sort this out about the sound. Can you say something? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. So Nicolas Sanger, head of unit projects and platforms. Obviously, we did the sound check before we started the webinar. Now that's a demonstration effect. I can't hear you, Nico. I'm sorry. Maybe as we sort out this, we can already have a look at the slide of questions. So I see that we have already 13 questions filled in here. Yes, so questions are about the roles of university, the type of partners. I think we have some questions that, of course, about Ukraine as a newcomer. Maybe let me also remind all of you that for the first time this year, Interreg Europe welcomes also partner institution from 7 new countries, which is Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Serbia, Ukraine, and Republic Moldova. I hope I didn't forget any of them. So 7 new countries joined the program early this year. And we're very excited also to start cooperating with you. And for the first time, organizations from these countries can apply this year to the third call. So I still can't hear Nico. That's really strange. So I'm not sure how we're going to proceed right now. Let me double check if my colleagues told me something about it. Sorry, we apologize for this technical, let's say, little glitch. I'm sure we can sort it out. Ilaria, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and I hope you can hear me as well.
I can hear you as well, because
Yes.
we had this, we had sorted it out before the beginning of the webinar. So, how do you feel today? Are you excited about the new call?
Yes, yes, and I can propose that maybe we go through the presentation. I can start, and then when Nico is ready from the technical point of view, he can jump in. So maybe we go to the beginning of the presentation. Okay,
if you want to do it. Otherwise, I thought, okay, let's do it this way. Excellent. Let's do it this way. So,
yes.
for us, yours, Ilaria, give us some insight about the third call, please.
Yes, so we thought it would be good for the first Q&A to really give you some more information about the third call. As Verena already mentioned, is the first call of the program where we welcome the new countries, the new 7 countries of the program. So it's really the first time that the 36 countries are eligible and can join the third call projects. Maybe also a quick word on what happened so far. And so we had 2 calls already. The program had 2 calls already, a first and a second call, where the program approved 150 projects out of 280 applications the program received, which means a success rate of 54%, so a pretty good success rates for the projects applying to the program. And yes, Nico, you are back.
Marvelous.
Great. Then I give you.
I didn't want to interrupt you because you were perfect.
But I'm happy to give you back the floor, and then I will jump in again to say something about the budget. Thank you,
Thanks.
Nico.
You're welcome, Mila, and thank you very much for taking over for me. I apologize to everybody. Everything was working during the test phase, and suddenly it didn't work. Anyway, I think, Ila, you have said the essential. We wanted first, because it's our Q&A session. We are very happy to launch this series of sessions together. We wanted to have a quick presentation on the call before starting the Q&A exchange. And before going to the features, we thought it was important to tell you why this was a unique opportunity for you. Very important moment for the program, as Ilaria just said. The program has been extended to 7 new countries.
I'm very sorry, Nico, to interrupt you again. Let me interrupt you. I can't hear you. Actually, I can because you're sitting in the office next to me, so I can hear you talking, but I'm afraid the sound isn't here. Yes, also I can see people putting in the chat that they cannot hear you clearly. So yeah, there are problems with sound. Yes, unfortunately. Yes, okay, so I think I'm not the only one hearing it. So Nico, I think we still have to see how we can sort this out. Ilaria, do you feel ready to take over again?
Yes.
I have to apologize to our participants for this. Well, technical glitches. Nobody is spared from it. So Ilaria, let's see if we can jump in again into this.
Yes. So as Nico mentioned, this is a unique opportunity because it's the first time we are welcoming these new countries. I already talked about the results from the previous call, so maybe we can go to the next slide. So in terms of timing, the call opened on the 20th of March 2024. So already 2 weeks ago, there was the launch of the call in our annual event in Antwerp. Maybe some of you joined us there. And so it is already possible to start preparing and filling in your application in the portal, which is the online system of the program. The call will last for 11 weeks. It will close on the 7th of June 2024 at 12 Paris time, and we expect that the monitoring committee of the program will be able to take a decision by the end of the year. You can find also the full application pack on the program website at the link that you can also see in the slide. Then yes, so the third call is all the topics are possible. So all projects can be submitted on all the topics that the program covers. So in terms of thematic scope, it's still possible to prepare a project in all these topics that you can see on the slide. In terms also of geographical coverage, so you can see that we have different areas.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you, Nico. So if you want to step in back.
I don't know. I'm sorry again for you. Now I put a wire, I came back to the old technology. But let me know if it works or not, because I'm a bit careful now.
It seems to work much better than it used to work, Nico. I can hear you perfectly fine now.
Yes.
Okay, so all technologies are not as bad. I apologize again for all these issues. But again, Ila, thanks for taking over most of the slides. You are there, I see, on the geographical coverage now, which is a very important criteria for the quality of our projects. And one of the main novelty in the third call, of course, due to the extension of the program, is that we have created a fifth area, as you see on the slide. And in terms of eligibility for the third call, the projects that apply have to ensure that their partnership will cover at least 4 out of these 5 areas. This is very important because otherwise your project would not be eligible. And beyond this, of course, we also encourage, we are a cohesion policy program, we also encourage a mix between less and more advanced regions, but this kind of geographical criteria, I would say, encourage also this mix between more and less developed regions. If we go to the next slide, there is also, if you had a look at the terms of reference of the call, you will see that there's particular encouragement to involve certain areas. And these are reflected here on the third bullet points. Of course, an encouragement to involve our new countries. We are very happy to welcome again these 7 new countries. So there's a strong encouragement to involve these areas and to show also that this program is popular for these new countries. There is also an encouragement to involve partners from Switzerland. Why Switzerland? Because if you look at the first 2 calls, Switzerland was the only eligible country that was not represented either in the 150 projects. So we would really like to see, if possible, partners from Switzerland in the third call. And last but not least, in the terms of reference, you will find an annex with a list of NUTS2 regions. These are the NUTS2 regions that are not yet represented in the 150 projects. So we would also encourage to have newcomers in this third call. And at the end of the day, if you do that, you kill two birds in one stone, in a way, because this is the best way to demonstrate the innovative character of your proposal, is to show that you really involve new people, new countries, new regions. We are, on the other hand, very careful with we have a certain number of organizations that keep coming back in each call, and they are quite successful. We are also very careful with this kind of organization because we are not there, of course, to finance always the same regions and the same organizations. If we go to another novelty of the program, which is called the Discovery Partner, this is something that didn't exist in the past. And the idea is very simple. We created this new status of partner to facilitate as much as possible the participation from the 7 new countries. So already you understand that this possibility to be involved as discovery partners is only open to these 7 new countries. And what does it mean, the discovery partners? It's a lighter way of being involved in a project. Usually, when you're involved in an Interreg Europe project, you need to focus on a specific policy instrument and to do your best to improve this policy through the exchange of experience, through the interregional learning you get with your other partners. For discovery partners, it's not necessary to address a policy instrument. The main aim will be to discover how an interregional cooperation project works, and of course, to learn from each other on the issue addressed by the project. We would still like to see the new countries involved as normal partners, really coming for improving policies. But again, if this is too challenging for some of your partners in these regions, in these new countries, there will be a possibility to come as discovery partners. There is still a recommendation in the program that there's a maximum of 2 discovery partners per project. This is mainly what I wanted to say on my side. Ilaria, I will give you back the floor for a few financial elements on the third call. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Nico. Yes, we thought it would be also useful to tackle the financial key features. Also because we saw that we received already some questions on this aspect as well. So in Interreg Europe, there are 6 cost categories plus preparation cost, and I will briefly go through them. So when we talk about preparation costs, we mean all the costs that you incur to prepare the project application until the moment you submit this. And they are reimbursed as a lump sum of 17,500,000 euros. So it's really a lump sum that is granted to projects that are approved, is granted to the lead partner with the first progress report, and there is no supporting documents to be provided. This is really a simplification measure. Then there is the staff cost category. The staff cost category usually represents the largest share of the budget. This is because Interreg Europe is a capacity building program. The employees of the partner organization are the ones that are mainly involved in the project activities. They meet with the other partners, they learn from each other. So this is really where the largest share of the budget goes. From experience, what we see from the other calls is that usually half of the budget goes to staff costs. The way staff costs are calculated, they are calculated on a fixed percentage basis. So for each employee working on the project, you have to estimate how much of their time will be dedicated to the project with a percentage, and then this percentage is applied to the salary to the monthly salary to calculate the staff costs. There is then the office and administration cost category. This is covering all the general administrative expenditure of the organization, and it is reimbursed with a flat rate of 15% of the staff cost. So this is also another simplification measures, because this is automatically calculated in the application form, and again, no supporting documents to be provided during the project implementation. There is then the travel and accommodation cost category. This is also a very important budget category because, of course, in terms of the activities that the project usually carry out is mainly meetings, study visits, so this type of activities that require a lot of traveling. And in terms of how the staff costs are calculated, this is also a very important simplification that the program introduced, because they are also calculated as a flat rate of 15% of the staff costs. So again, no supporting documents, no documents, invoices to be provided to prove the travel cost. This is a recommendation that the project partner should go for the travel and accommodation flat rate. It's still possible in very exceptional and justified cases to go for real cost reporting. For travel costs, this is a choice that has to be made in the application form, but again, the recommendation is really to go for the flat rate. The real costs are really for example, the outermost regions or very remote regions in Europe. Now with the enlargement, it is also, let's say, a possibility for the new partners, for the partners from the new countries to go for the real cost if it's really justified, if this is really well explained in the application form. But this is still the recommendation of the program is to go for the flat rate. If we look at the first and second call project, 98% of the partners went for this flat rate because it's really the easiest to do. There is then the external and expertise and services cost category. Here is where project partners budget all the costs for services that they have to outsource because they cannot implement them internally. So all the services that are needed that cannot be provided by the staff of the organization, they have to be budgeted in this cost category. There is then the equipment cost category. In Interreg Europe, this means mainly office, so small office equipment like laptops or in general office equipment. And then there is the infrastructure and works cost category. This category is really very exceptional. It is only used in case of pilot actions to budget cost for small-scale infrastructure and works. But again, its use is very, very limited. Again, if we look at what first and second call projects did, I think we have very, very few partners who use this cost category for their pilot action. So this is very, very limited in Interreg Europe. Then maybe I can give you just a quick insight of what is usually the size of the budget that our projects have. On average, if we again look at the first and second call, on average the project budget was around 1.4 million euros of Interreg funds. So this is usually the type of budgets we see for the projects. And there is also a program recommendation that the budget of the project should be between 1 and 2 million, because this is what we usually see both in this programming period, but also in the past, and what we usually expect in line with the activities the projects usually do. So yeah, this was mainly what I wanted to pass about the budget, and I give the floor back to Verena.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Ilaria. Thanks a lot, Nico. Very dynamic presentation, more dynamic than we thought it would be. Amazing. So before we start with the questions, let me quickly remind you all, the participants, that this session is recorded. We will make the recording available afterwards, and we will handle your questions using the Slido tool. So I saw that some of you put your questions in the chat and even got some answers, but I think from now we're going to focus more on the Slido, simply for us to ease a little bit the management of the questions. So you can connect via the QR code that you see on your screen right now, or on slido.com, and then with the code #3rdcall questions. So I think we are all set now. And now let's say we give space for your questions. And I'm going to start right away with the first question on the screen. Question coming from Christine Leder. Thanks a lot. So she's asking, does the allocation of an advisory partner affect the balance of the partnership in terms of geographical coverage? If one area, so north, south, east, or west, is overrepresented due to the fact that an advisory partner has its seat in that area, would that lead to a negative assessment? Maybe Nico, I think you could answer this question if you don't mind.
No, of course not. It's an interesting question. I can only confirm that the location of an advisory partner affects the balance of the partnership in terms of geographical coverage, because it is considered as a normal partner. So it may happen indeed that due to the advisory partner location, one of the area is unfortunately a bit overrepresented compared to the others. Let's see if it leads or not to a negative assessment. It really very much depends on how much go to this only area. But you have to consider the advisory partner as a normal partner, counting as a normal partner. By the way, like the discovery partners, we already receive a question like this in the chat.
So it means the assessors, they will also look into the budget, let's say, share that goes to the different areas, right?
Exactly.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot. So let's move on. Next question from Valentina. She asked, for discovery partners, regardless of not having to bring a policy instrument, can any type of partner be eligible, or do they need to be policy relevant? So yeah, maybe also Nico, I guess it's for you.
Yes, if Ilaria doesn't mind too much. It's another very interesting question, because you know how important this question of policy relevant is in Interreg Europe. But the added value of the discovery partner is that we will not ask this question on the policy relevance. If you come as a discovery partner, you will need to answer only two questions: is how much you are relevant to the topic, of course, because we would like to understand the interest of the organization for the topic addressed by the project, and what will be your exact contribution involvement in the project. So you have to understand that the question of the policy relevance really derives directly from addressing a policy instrument. So it's much more open if you're a discovery partner. And of course, this means that organizations like which are not pure public authorities, local authorities, like, I don't know, universities, chambers of commerce, agencies, they can come also easily as discovery partners.
And so when they ask if any type of partner can be eligible, so of course they have to respect the general eligibility rules of the program. So we have a question from Marju. The role of university and research institute in the program, including as project leaders. Maybe, I don't know, Ilaria, Nico, who wants to maybe say what about this? The role of university and research institutes.
Ila can start with the eligible status, maybe?
Yes.
Quick reminder.
Yes, I think it's also connected to the previous question. So I think it's important to clarify who is eligible in Interreg Europe. So it's public bodies, so typically public authorities at regional or local level. Also public equivalent bodies, so bodies governed by public law can be eligible, and private not-for-profit bodies. This is the type of bodies that are can be eligible and have the eligible status in Interreg Europe. But then I let Nico complete a bit also what type of bodies we expect to be involved and how, in terms also of the policy relevance, but it's of course important.
Yes, thanks, Ilaria. I think this is one of the most common questions we receive, this one, in our program. There's no Q&A session where we don't get a question on the universities or research institutes. So it's a very important question. But it's very important to make a distinction between the eligible status as such. Of course, universities usually, and most research institutes, we think they will be eligible to the program. The second question is, what will be their role in an Interreg Europe project? And in particular, if they are coming to address a policy instrument, what will be their policy relevance in this project? And this our experience of the last 20 years, to be honest, is much, much more challenging for universities and research institutes to demonstrate their policy relevance in relation to a specific policy. I don't mean that these organizations are not very important in the policy making in the regions, if you're working on innovation, for instance, or economic development or research policies. But at the end of the day, they are not the one in charge of the public policies in the regions. So a very important question to see if you are a university and research institute, are you coming as an advisory partner, which is possible because you have a certain expertise in an area, and then the program will not question the policy relevance of your organization. But if you're coming to address a policy instrument, then the question of how much you are policy relevant to this instrument will be very important. The ideal configuration we see in our projects, if you are coming to address a policy instrument, usually the university or the research institute come, for instance, the regional council, and there are two partners coming from the same regions to address a policy instrument, because the regional council is the one in charge of this policy instrument. And just the second part of the question, research institute and universities can be lead partners. This has happened already in several of our projects. But again, the core question is what's going to be their role in the project.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's restriction about the legal status for lead partners, right? If I'm not mistaken. Ilaria, maybe, or Nico.
Yes, yes. In fact, private not-for-profit bodies cannot be lead partners. So only public or public equivalent bodies can take this role as lead partner.
Okay, yeah, I think that's also an important piece of information. Thanks for this addition. So thanks a lot for those insights. Let's move on. We have a question from Ina. The question is, can temporarily occupied communities participate in the program? And what are the features of participation for such communities? So I would assume that's a question probably from a colleague from Ukraine. So now we have, we again confronted to the sound issue, Nico. Very sorry about that. Sorry again to our participants. That seems to be kind of the running gag this morning. So Ilaria, do you think you can answer this question in the meanwhile?
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, I can take this question. So in fact, the answer is no, it is not possible for these territories to be involved in an Interreg Europe project. This is also clearly stated in the manual. So there is no possibility for participating in a project for these communities.
Okay, thanks, Ilaria. So the program manual, it was mentioned, that's very important, let's say, reference for you. It's available on our program website. It was also, the link was shared in the chat. So if you're planning to apply, we really recommend you have a let's say, thorough reading of this program manual. Okay, let's move on. Victoria Fortuna is asking, hello, taking into account Ukraine as a newcomer, can we be lead partner? Okay, Ilaria, maybe you have a take on that question?
Yes, it is possible for organizations coming from the 7 new countries to be a lead partner. Maybe I can complete on this question as a general information. We already said that private not-for-profit cannot be lead partner, and also organizations from Switzerland cannot be lead partners. So these are the only 2 restrictions we have for organizations to be lead partners. But yeah, so an organization from Ukraine could in principle be a lead partner.
Okay, excellent.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Nico. Amazing.
Oh, incredible.
Maybe you want to add something on that point?
But I just wanted to say that maybe for Ila also it's an opportunity to remind the importance of the role of the lead partner. This should not be underestimated, because the lead partner bear the whole responsibility toward the program in implementing a project. So it's true that if it's your first project, the first time you come, it may be quite challenging to ensure this role. But in principle, there's no problem for, of course, for the new partners to be lead partners, for the new countries to become lead partners.
Excellent. Okay, thanks a lot for those insights. So Victoria, I hope that answers your question. It's anyways amazing to see that there's such a big interest in Ukraine and in the other new countries. So amazing. We're going to move on now to the question from Livia. Can you explain the disclaimer in the third call terms of reference? Which features of the third call can be modified retrospectively? And how does it impact the involvement of candidate countries area? So yeah, this is, I think, also an interesting question, because in the terms of reference that are also available on the program website, there is this little disclaimer. Nico, what's about this?
Yes, it's an important remark because it may raise some questions, as we see here. You have to remember that all the program, the third call documents were approved last December. And last December, we had an uncertainty in relation to the funding coming for the 5 new Balkan countries. We were discussing with the Commission, and we didn't know where we were with what we call the IPA funding that support the participation of these countries. The situation is much clearer now, to be honest with you. We have now insurance, more or less, that this budget is okay and we'll get to the program. However, we have to keep this disclaimer because officially we need then to resubmit our program to the Commission, and the Commission needs to approve it officially, so everything is clean. So this disclaimer remains in the program document, but the message to all of you is that you should not worry at all about it, because the situation should be clarified in the coming weeks, even before the call ends, hopefully.
And of course, we don't expect any changes to the manual or to the terms of reference or to the.
So it's a good news on this,
yes,
I would say.
Excellent. Okay, thanks a lot. Elke is asking, Elke Wins, what is the most common staff deployment for an Interreg Europe project for the lead partner? Yeah, thank you in advance. I think that's a question maybe targeted to Ilaria.
Yes, so this is also linked to a bit to what Nico said before about the lead partner role. Of course, the lead partner has a very important coordination role, and this is also reflected in their budget. The budget of the lead partner is usually higher than the budget of the other partner because they have to budget for enough resources to be able to coordinate the project. It's difficult to give a concrete figure because this very much depends also on the salary levels and the cost of salary in the lead partner country. We see very important variations and differences in the program territory because we cover the whole European territory and now even beyond. So there will be even more variations and differences with the program enlargement. But what we can say is that definitely you have to plan for enough resources to take care of all the tasks of the lead partner that are significant and important, and always keep in mind that your starting point must be really the activities. So calculate carefully how much time you will have to spend on the project as a lead partner to carry out the activities that you had planned in your project, and then you can come up with an estimation of your staff budget.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ilaria. Let's move on. Question from Alexandru, also related to budget. So what is the per project budget? And it's actually 2 questions. Funding modality, reimbursement of applicants, incurred expenditures. So I guess you more or less mentioned it in your presentation earlier, but maybe you can quickly answer this question still.
Yes, I think the first part of the question I already tackled in the presentation. What is usually the size of the budget we see in an Interreg Europe project? For the second part, well, you have to know that, and we often receive this question in our Q&As, there is no advance financing in Interreg Europe. So what will happen is that you will, if your project is approved, you will start incurring your cost, and then you every semester, so at 3 months after the end of every semester, you will report on your activities to the program. You will report the costs you have incurred in that semester, and then you will receive the reimbursement of these costs. So it will in fact take some time before you will start receiving funding from the program on the activities and on what you spent on the project.
Yes, okay. So important piece of information. Partners have to make sure they have actually, I guess, the cash flow to, well, to participate in the project. Yes. Okay. Francesca is asking, would you recommend including an advisory partner in project applications? Do you consider it an added value for the project? Maybe I would direct this question to Nico now.
Yes, if you can still hear me.
We can.
Oh, marvelous. I don't dare to move almost, you know. So this is a good question, because when you look at what Interreg Europe is about, building on good practices, capitalizing on what has been successful in the regions, there's not always the need to have an advisory partner. And I think a majority of our projects, they don't have any advisory partners. Now, if you're addressing a topic which is quite specific, which is quite technical, or if you have special needs in terms of dissemination and communication for certain reasons, it may make sense indeed to have an advisory partner in your proposal. But you may remember that in the program manual, whatever happened, the manual do not recommend that there's more than one advisory partner per. So the conclusion on this is that if you have an advisory partner in your project, please make sure its role is clear in the project and its added value in the project is clear.
Yes, and if I can add, I think it's important to show that the added value for the entire partnership is demonstrated. So the advisory partner does not advise only one region, but it's really, well, to support the entire partnership, the entire consortium.
Exactly.
Okay. Question from Vanessa. Is the regional innovation strategy considered a policy instrument? Maybe Nico, if you want to take this one as well.
Yes, with pleasure. What is nice in this program is that the notion of policy instrument is very open, you know. First, it can be at any level, municipal, regional, national levels, and it can take various forms. It can be a strategy, it can be a law, it can be a program like the RDF program in the regions or the SF Plus program. So I can only answer yes to this question. In principle, a regional innovation strategy can indeed be considered as a policy instrument.
Okay, thanks a lot. So yes, a very important notion in our program, a policy instrument. If you're still wondering what's about, you can also read the definition in the program manual. And if you have questions about your specific policy instrument and maybe also who's responsible for your policy instrument, you're also very welcome to get in touch with the point of contact for your country. Okay, we're gonna move on. Nicolas Sass is asking, hi everybody, is it possible to participate for entities already selected in previous Interreg projects?
I can also answer if it's okay for you. It is possible, indeed, to participate if you've already been involved in previous project, but I don't know if you remember when I presented the encouragement to involve, new areas, new partners, new regions. We are very careful because we are checking who is coming back in our project. We are quite picky with that. And usually the program also recommend that the involvement in project applications and project in general, even the running, remains reasonable. This is a general rule, but of course, it varies a lot. If you are a very big regional authorities, you can be involved in several projects. If you are a smaller authority, or a smaller, perhaps even not an authority, we would be very careful in multiple involvement. And this would need to be very clearly justified in case you come back, because this usually does not contribute to demonstrate the innovative character of the proposal we receive. Just for your information, in the second call, there were 3 or 4 applications that failed because their partnership was mainly a continuation of previous Interreg Europe projects. There were a few changes, of course, but they were not able to demonstrate what was really new in their partnership compared to previous cooperation. So we are not there to finance continuation of past or existing projects.
Okay, thanks, Nico. Very clear. So we have a question from Sonia. If we want to approach the governance and piloting of mobility plans in a region, shall we apply to connected or to governance? So to which specific objective should they apply? What would you advise?
Yes, this is more specific question because it requires quite a lot of information to be able to answer precisely. I may be provocative. I would answer neither nor, maybe, because if the project focus really on sustainable mobility, with the objective of zero, low carbon emission, etc., I think the most relevant priority would be sustainable mobility under Greener Europe. The one on connected is very specific, even if it may be possible. And governance is very broad and is usually, not always, but usually related to non-thematic topic. So for instance, if I want to exchange on the way local authority manage public procurement or face state aid rules or evaluate their policies in general, I would go to governance. But here, if we would advise to go under Greener.
Okay, so Nico, just to let you know, your sound is again kind of, not to say fragile. So we heard, I would say 95% of what you said. That's great. For Sonia also, you're very welcome to contact us, submit your project idea. So if you have a specific project idea you're working on, you can also send it in through the Ask for Feedback service on our website, and you will get some more detailed feedback, and we would also discuss with you which specific objective is most suitable for your project idea. So third call question, hello, for Maria. Can the commercial organization participate in this program? So I would maybe give this question to Ilaria.
Yes, so yeah, we mentioned before already what type of organizations are eligible in Interreg Europe, and if by commercial organization you mean private with profit-oriented status, then no, it cannot participate as a project partner in the project because as I said before, only public or public equivalent bodies and private not-for-profit bodies can be eligible in the program.
Okay, that's clear. Thanks a lot. So time is running. We have a lot of questions still open. Let's move on. The goal of Interreg Europe is to improve policy instrument. Is it also possible to develop a new policy instrument in a project? Nico, what would you say? Okay, unfortunately, we have to postpone these questions because we can't hear you. Maybe if I may, Nico, you could try also to follow the session without a headset and use the microphone of your computer directly. So that would be maybe also an idea for troubleshooting. We're gonna move on right now. Question from Volodymyr and Ilaria, this one is gonna be for you. Is there any possibilities to join the project that has already started? And if yes, what is needed?
Yes, so it is possible for partners, for organizations from the new 7 countries to join a running first or second call projects because there is a restricted call ongoing, and the restricted call, the objective of the restricted call is to give the possibility to approved project from the first and the second call to integrate partners from these countries. There are certain conditions, and you can find on our website the terms of reference of this call. I also take the opportunity to tell you that next week, on the 9th of April, there will be an online event specifically dedicated to the restricted call. So maybe this session is not really the best place to go into the details of this call, but just to tell you that yes, there is the possibility, and if you want to find more information, please check our website and register to the webinar on the 9th of April in the morning that will be specifically dedicated to this.
Okay, super, Ilaria. So as you can see, everyone, a lot of things ongoing and many possibilities, in particular for the organizations from the new partner states to get involved in Interreg Europe. So Nico, let's see. Can we hear you? No, I think right now you're muted. So someone should unmute you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Maybe?
we can. Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. So apologies again to all the participants. I think Nico is now speaking without a headset, so hopefully the sound quality will still be sufficient for you. Nico, can you tell us about is it possible to develop new policy instruments? So this is an anonymous question.
Yes. I don't think this should be the main objective when you join a project. And if you know a bit the application form, if you look at the application form, you will anyway be asked to select a policy instrument from your region. So the core objective of this program is to improve existing instruments. You will even be asked to explain what kind of improvements you envisage in this policy instrument. So you have to be very careful with that, because in the application form, this is not even possible. However, that through the exchange of experience, through what you learn during the 2-3 years, there may be opportunities indeed to develop a new strategy, to define a new policy thanks to what you have learned. But again, this should not be the starting point of an Interreg Europe project in principle.
Okay, I think that's clear. Thanks, Nico. So we have a question from Petya. Our question is it recommended to include partners from 4 areas in a way that each partner that's not policy instrument maker by itself has a regional policy maker as a partner? Or is it better to plan the project only with or mostly with policy responsible partners? Thanks in advance. Bit complex. Nico, can you explain it in simple words?
That's quite a long question, but I like it. No, it's nice, this question. Why? Because the perfect project of Interreg Europe is when all regions are represented by the policy responsible authority. That's really perfect. And this plays a lot in what we call the quality of partnership in the selection criteria. So as much as you can, we would encourage you to have the policy responsible authorities as partners, for sure. However, the reality is different. It's not always possible to have them. And that's the reason why we have this possibility for others to join and to have the responsible authority as associated policy authority. But to answer Petya, this is the second option that will always be encouraged by the program as much as possible. Please ensure that the policy responsible authority comes as partners.
Okay, thanks a lot. So Petya, also for you, if you have a project idea at hand that you're developing, feel free to contact us on this specific idea to look through it. Okay, Maria is asking, we are interested in cultural and touristic project. What are the possibilities in there? Nico, I think you may be also best suited to answer it.
Yeah, that's a very broad and general question in a way. Let's say that cultural and tourism is covered in our program. It can be under an economic development angle under Smarter Europe, of course, but it could also be from a more traditional angle under more social Europe. You will see there that culture is represented and heritage. I would, however, be very careful in what you envisage when you say cultural and touristic projects. Interreg Europe is there to improve regional development policies. We are not there to organize festivals or cultural events or exchange of artists or whatever, as you can see that in, for instance, in cross-border or transnational program. Here, this is really an opportunity to think about improving the public intervention in supporting cultural or tourism. So this is really more about what you have in mind behind this. But in general, these 2 topics are in a way covered in our program, yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nico. So I see questions keep coming on Slido and also in the Zoom chat. So dear participants, ideally we're going to use the Slido. Also, I mean, we're probably going to run out of time, but don't worry. If your question is not answered today, there's more possibilities for you to hand your questions, and we make sure that you have your answer on time. So, okay, maybe we have time for one or two more questions before we wrap up. Anna is asking, oh no, hang on, sorry. Maybe we're going to take the question from Aine. How does the budget work for advisory partners? That's another budget related question to Ilaria.
Yes, so the advisory partner is a partner like the others. So in principle, they will plan their budget under the cost categories that I mentioned before. So the same cost categories as for the other partners. But of course, and this is the general advice we always give when you plan your budget, always starts from the activities and the role of the partner. The advisory partner has a different role, is not addressing a policy instrument. They will have less activities at regional level. So what we often see is that they have a budget that is usually less than the budget of a regional partner addressing a policy instrument, having, for example, to work a lot with their stakeholders, having a lot of things going on really in their territory and in the region. So usually the advisory partner has a budget that is less significant than the other partners. This is what we usually see in our projects. But then, of course, it will always depend on their role, on what they will actually do in the project. We have a lot of advisory partners that, for example, sometimes they're responsible for the project communication, so they will have to budget enough resources to coordinate the communication at project level. So this is what we usually see, and it's true that we see a reduced budget compared to the other partners, but then we always have to see what the advisory partner will do actually in the project, what will be their role, their tasks, and then plan the budget accordingly.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Ilaria. I want to take one more question, which is a question from Daniela. Sorry, I'm gonna read it out. One of the eligibility requirements in the terms of reference is referred to the Investment for Jobs and Growth goal programs. Can you please explain what that means for the beneficiaries? Thank you.
Yes, it's a core question, this question, because it's about an eligibility rule that you will see. Investment for Jobs and Growth Goal program leads to confusion because our beneficiaries, they don't always understand what is meant by that. You have to understand that this refers to the program of the cohesion policy financed by the European Union, and it's simply the ERDF, ESF, or Just Transition Funds program, which are financed in the various member states, either at the national level or at the regional level. And Interreg Europe is a bit unique because in its mission, Interreg Europe is also there to help a better implementation of this ERDF, ESF Plus program. So there's an obligation in each project that at least one of the policy instruments needs to be an ERDF program in a region or in a member states, or an ESF Plus program, or Just Transition Fund program. This is something you cannot avoid because it's an eligibility criterion.
Okay, so I think that's quite clear. Thanks, Nico. If you have a doubt about the nature of your policy instrument, again, you should double check with the point of contact in your country. Maybe, yes, one more question from Victoria. In case if Ukraine starts a new project as a lead partner, or probably as a partner, doesn't matter, what is duration of this project, 2027 or 2028? Maybe Ilaria, you wanna answer? Or Nico, as you prefer.
Ilaria, if you're fine, I need to calculate myself.
Yes, I was doing the same, Nico. I was trying to calculate because, yes. So I think it will be more than that. I think it will be until 2029. So it will be until 2029, if my calculations are correct. That will be the duration of the project, considering that I said before the decision will be most likely be taken at the end of the year. So the project will start at the beginning of in the first half, let's say, of 2025, and then run until 2029. Please, Nico, correct me if I said anything wrong.
It's exactly that, and I think it's a good opportunity to explain that the duration is imposed. You don't have any choice. It's a 4-year project. 3 years are essential. They are the core. This is the exchange of experience, but we keep an additional year to investigate a bit more about the results that you have. So if we start early 25, it means that the project will close early 29 in a way. So exactly what Ilaria you explained.
Yes. Okay, thanks a lot. So project duration is 4 years and the implementation is in 2 phases. And if you want to read more, you can check in the program manual again. Okay, Olga is asking, good afternoon, everyone. Are there any restrictions for some Ukrainian cities to participate? Can two organizations from Ukraine participate together?
This is a good question. There's no restrictions in relation to the number of participation per country. So this happens that two organizations from the same country participate in project. This is typically the case I was mentioning earlier, when, for instance, a policy instruments, let's say the regional innovation strategy of a region is addressed both by the regional council and by the university of the region. They come together. But it may happen that even two different regions from the same country comes. The only thing then, you have to be very careful, because this may have an impact on the balanced coverage of the project, which we assess under the quality of partnership. So usually we like to see some justification when several regions from the same country are coming. But in principle, this is possible. If I may, Verena, I can take this opportunity to answer very quickly to two other questions I was seeing on what is a policy instruments. The best advice I would give to this person is to look at the running projects. You simply go in our running project on our website, and you will see the list of the policy instruments they address in each of the region. I think this is the best way for you to understand what can be a policy instrument. And last question, do we encourage the lead partnership from new countries? We do not encourage anything on that level. We just say that this is possible. But as I said earlier, be aware of the importance of being a lead partner. It's a very, very demanding role in a project. So in particular, if it's your first time in Interreg in general, you don't have cross-border, transnational, you have to be careful, because it can be a very challenging role.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nico. Very efficient here. I can see many participants are still in the room, so I guess we can maybe go on for a few more minutes. And maybe I wanted to add one point on this question about the regional policy instrument. It's important to understand when we talk about regional instruments or regional development policies, we have this, let's say, rather broad understanding of regional, right? So it can be,
yes.
When we talk about region, sometimes it can mean actually a city. So it can be also development policies on local level. And in some cases, in some countries, it can even be at national level, or at regional level, but it depends, of course, also how the administration is organized, which is different from one country to the other. So that's also the beauty of Interreg Europe, that we cover many different, let's say, realities, actually.
Yeah.
So Giannis is asking, what is the optimum budget for a new partner from candidate countries, and what activities they should undertake?
Yes, maybe I can take this question. It's a very difficult question, because what is the optimum budget for a new partner from candidate countries? They should know best. I mean, the partner who will join the project, they will know how much their salary costs, what are the costs they need. For example, if they need external cost to implement some activities that they cannot do internally. So it's really a discussion you should have with the organization, with the partner, to know what are their costs and their level of costs, and then budget accordingly. And then, of course, then it comes down to the activities. What is the role of the partner? Is it a discovery partner, then they will have probably a reduced budget compared to a partner that is addressing a policy instrument, because they will have a different type of involvement in the project. So my suggestion would really be, start from the role of the partner. Is it a regular partner addressing a policy instrument, or is it a discovery partner? This will mean a different involvement in the project and less activities, for instance, at regional level for the discovery partner. And then check what are the costs, what are the salaries, what type of cost they need, and then construct the budget accordingly. This is the recommendation we can give you, because it's very difficult to give you the optimal figure. It will really depend on the role of the partner, on the activities, and on the country and cost level.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Hilaria. But I would say that, yeah, partner that address a policy instrument, we would expect them to, I mean, participate in the regional activities, do activities at regional level with their stakeholders. So pretty much the same as any other partner from any other country, right? Yeah. Okay. Can a consortium from a first call project submit a new project idea in a different thematic area? That's a question from John.
Yes, thank you for this question, John. In principle, it's possible. Nothing will prevent you from submit a new project ID. If we see that the exact consortium comes back, I'm afraid it will be an issue during the quality assessment, in particular under two criteria, or mainly one, the quality of partnership and the innovative character of the proposal, even if the topic is different. I'm sorry for you, because our aim is, again, not to finance over and over again the same organization, but to diversify as much as we can the experiences, the areas, the regions, the organizations that are joining Interreg Europe. So if you want to come back in the third call, we would really encourage you not only to change the topic, but also to change your partnership.
Okay, that's very clear, John. I hope you got the message. So we're going to take now the question from Clement. When will we know the contact info of the PCN in Albania? So I'm not sure if it's about the control system or is it about the point of contact? Do we have information here? Maybe Ladia?
We have some information because we have been in touch with Albania for the, I think what is meant there is a point of contact, which is important also to get advice. And we hope that this will happen in the coming days, maybe weeks. But then at the moment, we only have the monitoring committee members appointed. But Albania told us that very soon they will be able to tell us who are the point of contact in Albania.
Okay, excellent. And maybe information for all of you. Every country we have a point of contact, and you can find the information on our website under Interreg Europe in my country. And Amandine is just putting the link in the chat. That's amazing. Okay, we're getting, I think, closer to the end. Elisha was asking about the details and budget and cost categories. I don't know, Ilaria, if you want to maybe very quickly summarize what you mentioned already in your presentation.
Yes, I think, yeah, this was covered in the presentation, but quickly. So there are the staff cost category, the admin cost category, and the travel cost categories that are both reimbursed as a flat rate. Travel and accommodation, the recommendation is to go for the flat rate, even if real costs could be possible in justified cases. And the staff costs represent the largest share of the budget. Maybe I can conclude on this question just that I think I said it already, but the recommendation is really start from the activities and then think about the budget, and also involve your partners in the preparatory work. Check with them, what do they need for carrying out their tasks and activities, what is their level of costs, and then build the budget together with them.
Okay, thanks. And Elisha was just writing on the chat that my question on the budget was related to the potential inclusion of the new country and how their budget should be considered. Well, I guess by now we did answer this question. Yeah, if you want to add something, Ilaria, take the floor, but I think we mentioned that. Okay, Anna is asking, at what level is it best to contact the Interreg team for feedback with an almost finalized proposal or earlier? So, Nico, do you want to answer this?
Yes, I can try. There are different tools for you. I think maybe Verena, you will also conclude on this very soon. It depends. If you want to have specific questions, you're welcome to submit them whenever you're ready through a web form. We even have a web form. But I think you may refer to the project ID feedback form, which is a bit more elaborated, because you can describe the one-page document of your ID, and we commit ourselves to get back to you very quickly. Ideally, you should have enough information to us to submit this form, because sometimes we receive forms where some of the sections are not completed, what kind of partners you envisage, what are the policy instruments, and for us, it's very difficult to react to this, so it's not of real added value. So I would say submit this form as soon as you have enough content information so we are able to react. But it's true that if it's too late toward June, it loses its interest because you may not have a lot of time to readjust your project ID. So we would say that you should not wait too long before submitting this project ID feedback form to us.
Okay, I think that's clear. Thanks, Nico. Good for Anna. Okay. Okay, I think the question from Victoria: does a partner from Ukraine have ability to participate as a project partner? If yes, what budget is eligible for them? I think we did answer it. So in general, yes, partners from Ukraine are welcome to participate. And the budget depends, of course, on the role in the project and on the activities they will do. Vanessa is asking if is the university a policy responsible actor if the policy focuses on the transfer of scientific knowledge into practice and startups? And I'm gonna take this as the last question for you, Nico.
Yes, I think we even addressed it a bit earlier. The answer is no. It's not at all because the university is involved in the transfer of scientific knowledge into practice that it is a policy relevant organization. It just reflects that this university plays a role in maybe the innovation policy of the region. But usually what we saw in the last 20 years, I don't think we ever seen a case where the university, or there may be very few exceptions, where the university was confirmed as policy responsible authority by the member states. Usually it's an important stakeholder in certain policy on innovation, economic development, but who remains the policy responsible authority? It's the cities, the councils, the ministries. These are the ones that are driving the policy usually. And these are the kind of organization we would like to see in our projects.
Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot, Nico. Well, thanks a lot to all of you for staying here. Maybe if you have another 5 minutes, don't run away yet. First of all, a big thank you to Ilaria and Nico for answering all these questions. I think we can all now breathe a little. As we wrap up, I think you will soon see on your screen like a little feedback survey. We would be very grateful if you could answer it. I want to maybe now also take this opportunity to show you very few slides about our assistant services. So what are we doing as long now in the coming weeks as the call is open? So we, of course, we don't leave you alone in this project development phase. And well, maybe you know, or you feel a little lost, or it might seem very complex to you, but don't worry, you're not alone in this endeavor. We help you. So first of all, on our website, we have the frequently asked questions section, FAQ, where you can find already a lot of information. Feel free to browse through it. You can also use the ask a question form. Nico mentioned it earlier. Whatever question you have, just type it in, very quick email basically, and you will get an answer from a most competent colleague here in the secretariat. So then you have here a little bit of the overview of the different, let's say, assistant tools we have. So if you haven't visited our website yet, we really would invite you to do so, where you can find a lot of resources. So first of all, you can see the terms of reference, of course, the program manual, the annexes to the terms of reference, very important resources for you, country-specific information. You can also check your project idea relevance with this self-assessment tool that we have available for you. You can browse through the approved projects and see a little bit what happened there, get inspired, and also make sure that your project is somehow innovative. You can share your project idea on our website, and this is the way also for you to get partners. If you're still looking for some partners, you can use the share the project idea forum on our website, and of course it's also a way for others to find you, so to be found if you want to be found. And you can of course also proactively look for partners. You have to be a member of our community, and then you can search for countries. You can search for other members, so individual persons or organizations, per keyword search. You can filter per country. So it's a quite handy tool for you to look for more partners. Then you can ask for feedback for your project idea. So this is what Nico mentioned just before. If you have a project idea that it's a little bit more mature, let's say you have some partners confirmed, you have an idea about the policy instrument that would be addressed within the project, then it's a good moment to send it in to us to get individual feedback either per phone or in written as you prefer. Well, and then of course you have to apply, and to apply you can, it's going to happen in the portal, our application, let's say online application form. We also, well, you can log in with the same login you use for the website community. And if you're curious to see how the application form looks like, we also have a Word version for you available on our program website. So we help you also doing these question and answer session as we did today. So there's 3 more upcomings. You see the dates here. Next is on 26th of April, and then we have 2 more dates in May. As a reminder, the call closes on the 7th of June. And we have, of course, also an entire week of webinars where we dive in a little bit deeper into the different aspects of project development. So this week is on the 15th to 18th of April. So first day is about the partnership. Second day is about the project methodology. Third day is about the project finances, and the fourth day is about the project communication. So this is webinars, I think 1.5 hours. If you want to log in, you can find all the details on our website. And voila, if that's still not enough, you can also check if there's an information event specifically in your country. So we do organize quite a lot of country-specific information days in different locations. I knew some countries did already have their events. So well, if that's the case and you missed it, that's a pity, but hopefully there's some resources available also. And in any case, you can check the list of upcoming events here on this link. Yeah, you're also, of course, free to get in touch with the point of contact for your country. So with that being said, I want to thank again Nicolas Sanger and Ilaria Piazza for answering the questions. I also want to thank the entire team that was active behind the scene, sorting out the technical glitches, the chat, the slider, and so on. So mainly Petra, Julie, and Amandine, and also Camille and Etienne that were monitoring, let's say, the slider. As mentioned at the beginning, the session was recorded, so we will make it available on our website very soon, I guess early next week. And if you have more questions, yes, we're looking forward to answering them in a way or another. I mentioned to you all the different channels you have. And with that being said, I'm closing the webinar. Thanks a lot for your attention and have a nice day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.